Good evening and welcome. Make yourself cozy, get comfortable, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment with where you're listening from. Tonight, we're going to explore a city where time moves differently, a place where gold catches the light at sunset, where monsoons rewrite the rhythm of life, where past and present exist side by side. This is Yangon, Myanmar, and this is its story. Let's start with the pagoda. Our story begins with a structure that has stood for over 2,000 years, a golden spire visible for miles, a beacon that has guided this city's destiny through kingdoms, colonization, and revolution. The Shwedagon Pagoda rises 326 feet above the city, its surface covered in real gold, thousands of plates donated over centuries by pilgrims seeking merit. At the very top, a crown studded with diamonds, rubies, sapphires. In sunlight, it gleams. At dawn and dusk, it glows. At night, under spotlights, it radiates across the city. Legend says it was built during the lifetime of the Buddha, 2,500 years ago. Two merchant brothers travelled from this land to India. They met the Buddha under the Bodhi tree. He gave them 8 strands of his hair as relics. They brought these sacred objects back to their homeland and enshrined them in a golden pagoda on a hill. This pagoda. History is less certain about exact dates. Archaeological evidence doesn't go back 25 centuries, but the pagoda has stood here, in some form, for over 2,000 years, rebuilt after earthquakes that toppled the spire, expanded by successive rulers seeking merit and demonstrating power, covered in ever more gold as Myanmar's kings and people sought to honour what they held most sacred. Each renovation added height. Each generation contributed gold. By the 15th century, it had reached its current form, the shape distinctive, the size massive, the gold unmistakable, the pagoda shaped where the city grew. Yangon developed around this holy site. Roads radiated from it like spokes from a wheel. Neighbourhoods spread outward in concentric rings. The city's geography follows the pagoda's gravitational pull. Even today, if you're lost in Yangon, look for the golden spire. It orients you. It tells you where you are. Stand at its base today, and you're standing where monks have chanted for centuries, where kings prostrated themselves, where millions have walked clockwise around the platform, making offerings, saying prayers, seeking peace. The marble platform around the pagoda stays cool even in heat. Pilgrims walk barefoot, as required, the marble worn smooth by countless feet over countless years. Around the main stupa, smaller shrines cluster, planetary posts for each day of the week, Buddha images in different poses, Nat spirits honoured alongside Buddhist practice. People pray at the shrine for their birthday. Wednesday is split into 2, before noon and afternoon, making 8 total. Each has its animal. Monday is tiger, Tuesday is lion, Wednesday morning is elephant, and so on. This golden spire is not just a religious site, it's the city's anchor, its reference point, its heart. Ask anyone in Yangon for directions, and Shwedagon will be part of the answer. North of the pagoda, east of the pagoda, 10 minutes from the pagoda. It's the fixed point around which everything else arranges itself. But who built the city that grew around this pagoda? Let's talk about layers of history. The earliest settlements here were fishing villages where the Yangon River met the Bago River. The confluence provided abundance, fish from both rivers, transportation in all directions, connection to the interior and to the sea. People built wooden houses on stilts to survive the monsoon floods. Communities organized around monasteries, Life followed rhythms established over centuries. The name itself tells a story. Yan means enemies, Kun means run out of, Yangon, the end of strife. The name suggests a place of safety, peace, refuge, a place where conflicts end. For centuries this remained a minor settlement. Other cities in the region held more importance. Bago, 30 miles northeast, served as a royal capital. Yangon was provincial, peripheral, a river port, a fishing town, nothing more. That changed in 1755. King Alaungpaya was conquering Lower Myanmar, consolidating power, creating an empire. He saw Yangon's strategic position, two rivers meeting, access to the sea through the delta, defensible location. He established a new city here, built fortifications, constructed a proper port, renamed it Yangon. But even under Alaungpaya, it remained secondary. The real capitals were elsewhere. Yangon was a port, a garrison, a trading post, important, but not central. Not until the British came did Yangon become truly central. The First Anglo-Burmese War began in 1824. Territorial disputes, trade conflicts, imperial ambition. The British Empire was expanding across Asia. Myanmar, then called Burma, controlled territory the British wanted. War was perhaps inevitable. By 1826, the British controlled coastal regions, including Yangon. They saw immediately what King Alaungpaya had seen 70 years earlier: strategic position, river access, proximity to the ocean, natural harbour. They made it their administrative centre for Lower Burma. The British renamed it Rangoon, an anglicisation of Yangon, easier for English speakers to pronounce. The old name persisted in local use, but officially this was now Rangoon. They demolished the old city walls. Fortifications from the Burmese period came down. The British didn't need walls. They had military superiority. They had control of the sea. Walls were obsolete. In place of the organic growth of a Burmese town, they imposed order. A grid system, streets running perpendicular and parallel, north-south and east-west, numbered streets and named roads, predictable, rational, colonial. They built in brick and stone, not wood, permanent structures, government buildings, banks, trading houses, churches. The architecture was Victorian, arches, columns, ornate details. These buildings declared British presence, British power, British permanence. Picture downtown Yangon today. Those same Victorian buildings still stand, arcaded sidewalks providing shelter from sun and rain, ornate facades now weathered and stained by decades of monsoons, paint peeling, masonry crumbling, but the bones remain, buildings that wouldn't look out of place in Calcutta or Singapore or Hong Kong, cities of the British Empire, all marked by similar architecture. They also made Yangon the capital. From 1886, when Britain completed the conquest of all Burma, Yangon became the political centre. The governor's residence was built, government offices clustered downtown, courts, police headquarters, tax collection, all the machinery of colonial administration. The port expanded. Yangon became the export point for Burma's resources. Teak from the northern forests floated down the Irrawaddy River to Yangon's docks. Rice from the delta fields loaded onto ships bound for India and beyond. Rubies and jade from the mines in the north all passed through Yangon. The city grew rapidly. By 1900, the population exceeded 200,000. By 1930, it reached 400,000. People came from across Burma seeking work. Indians arrived in huge numbers, brought by the British to work as labourers, clerks, merchants. Chinese communities established themselves. The city became cosmopolitan, diverse, wealthy. Wealth, but not for everyone. The colonial economy enriched British companies and their local collaborators. The gap between rich and poor widened. Resentment grew. Nationalism emerged. Independence came in 1948. The British left. Burma became sovereign. Yangon remained the capital. The government buildings changed hands. The British governor departed. Burmese leaders took control. For decades after independence, Yangon continued as Myanmar's political centre, through civilian government, through military coups, through decades of military rule, through economic isolation, through political repression. Even when the country was closed to the outside world, Yangon remained the capital. Not until 2006 did that change. The military government ruling from Yangon made a sudden decision. They would build a new capital, Naypyidaw, in the middle of the country, far from the coast, far from potential foreign intervention. They moved, government ministries relocated, the military followed. Yangon ceased to be the capital. But capital or not, Yangon remains Myanmar's largest city, its economic engine, its most international city, its beating heart. Over 5 million people live in the metropolitan area. The port still handles most of the country's trade. The airport serves as the main international gateway. Universities, hospitals, businesses all concentrate here. The government can move, but the city remains. So the British shaped Yangon's layout and its role. But how did people live? What made this city function? Let's look at daily rhythms. Yangon's climate defines everything. Located at 16 degrees north latitude, just north of the Tropic of Cancer, the city experiences tropical monsoon climate. 3 distinct seasons: hot, hotter, and monsoon. The hot season runs from February to May. Temperatures climb. By March, daily highs reach 35 Celsius. By April, sometimes 38 or 40. Humidity builds week by week. The air becomes thick, heavy, hard to breathe. Sweat forms instantly. Clothing sticks to skin. People adapt their behavior. They move slowly, no rushing, no unnecessary exertion. They seek shade wherever it exists, under trees, under awnings, inside buildings. They avoid midday sun entirely if possible. Morning and evening become the productive hours. Midday is for resting. Electric fans run constantly, in homes, in shops, in offices. Those who can afford it use air conditioning. But electricity is expensive. Power cuts are common, so fans predominate. The sound of spinning blades becomes the soundtrack of hot season. People drink constantly: water, tea, sugarcane juice, coconut water. Dehydration is a real danger. Vendors selling cold drinks do steady business. Ice becomes valuable. Refrigerators essential. Then the monsoon arrives, usually in late May or early June. You can feel it coming. The air pressure changes. The sky darkens. The temperature drops slightly. People look up. They wait. And then it begins. Not gradually, not gently. The sky opens, water pours down, not rain in the sense of droplets. This is water in sheets, in walls, in torrents. The sound is deafening. Conversation becomes impossible. You have to shout to be heard. Streets flood within minutes. The drainage systems built by the British and barely maintained since cannot handle this volume. Water rises 6 inches, a foot. In low-lying areas, 2 feet. Roads become rivers. Intersections become lakes. Traffic stops. Cars stall in the water. Buses push through, creating wakes like boats. Motorcycles dare not try. People wait. In shops, in doorways, under any shelter they can find. You don't fight the monsoon. You accept it. You wait it out. But the monsoon brings relief. The oppressive heat breaks. Temperature drops from 38 degrees to 28. The air clears. You can breathe again. The dust that coated everything washes away. Everything looks cleaner, fresher, renewed. Gardens explode with green. Plants that looked dead during hot season burst into growth. Flowers bloom. The city transforms from brown and dusty to lush and vibrant. This is the reward for enduring the downpour. The monsoon continues through October. Some days bring constant rain. Other days bring brief afternoon showers. You learn to carry an umbrella always. Plastic bags to protect phones and documents. Shoes that can get wet. Clothing that dries quickly. Life adapts. Markets erect plastic sheeting over stalls. Street vendors develop waterproof setups. People navigate flooded streets with practiced ease, knowing which routes stay passable, which intersections flood worst, where to avoid. Then comes the cool season, November to January. The rains taper off. The temperature moderates, highs in the upper 20s, lows in the low 20s, low humidity, clear skies. This is the best weather Yangon offers all year. This is when festivals happen. Thadingyut, the Festival of Lights in October. Tzangdaeng in November. Thingyan, the water festival in April, marks the new year and the transition to hot season. But the cool season is when outdoor events are pleasant, when weddings are planned, when families travel to visit relatives. These seasonal rhythms shape the city's pulse. When to plant, when to harvest, when to stay indoors, when to venture out. Modern air conditioning and electric fans change this somewhat, but most people still live with the seasons, not against them. Daily life follows other rhythms too. The city wakes early, before dawn when the air is coolest. By 5 in the morning, monks in saffron robes walk the streets collecting alms. This is the daily alms round, practiced throughout Buddhist Southeast Asia. Monks leave their monasteries carrying bowls. They walk slowly, eyes downcast. They accept whatever is offered, but ask for nothing. People emerge from their homes with rice, curry, fruit. Offering food to monks earns merit, merit that might improve your karma, that might lead to better rebirth. This exchange is fundamental to Theravada Buddhism. The monks depend on the lay community for food. The lay community depends on the monks for spiritual guidance and the opportunity to earn merit. This morning ritual has continued for centuries, every day, rain or shine, hot season or cool. The monks walk, the people offer, the cycle continues. Tea shops open early, small establishments on street corners, wooden tables and plastic chairs on the sidewalk. Men gather to drink sweet, milky tea. The tea is strong, made with condensed milk, very sweet, often served in small glasses. You can sit for an hour over a single glass, sipping slowly, talking with friends. The breakfast specialty is mohinga, rice noodles in fish broth flavoured with lemongrass, banana stem, ginger, topped with crispy fritters, boiled egg, coriander. It's considered Myanmar's national dish. Every region makes it slightly differently. Yangon style uses more fish. Some vendors are famous for their mohinga. People travel across the city for a particular bowl from a particular vendor they trust. Conversation flows, news spreads, friendships maintain themselves over cups of tea and bowls of mohinga. This is social infrastructure, community building, information exchange, democracy of the tea shop. Markets come alive. Taingi Zay, the largest market downtown, Bogyoke Aung San Market, famous for gems and handicrafts. Neighborhood markets in every quarter. Vendors arrange vegetables, fruits, flowers. Buyers inspect produce. Touch it, smell it, negotiate prices, fresh food for the day's meals. Most homes lack refrigeration or have only small refrigerators, so people shop daily, buying what they need for that day. Tomorrow they'll return. This daily market visit is routine, social as well as practical. You see neighbours, exchange gossip, learn what's happening in the community. Traffic builds. By 7 in the morning, the streets fill. Buses, cars, motorcycles, bicycles. The city's transportation system is a mix of old and new. Japanese used cars dominate. Aging buses, many dating from the 1980s, motorcycles weaving between vehicles. Bicycle rickshaws in neighbourhoods. Horns honk constantly. Myanmar drivers use horns not to express anger, but to communicate. I'm here. I'm passing. Watch out. The result is a constant symphony of sound. Car horns, bus horns, motorcycle horns. Western visitors find it overwhelming. Locals barely notice. This is not a quiet city. Engine noise, horns, vendors calling out, construction, music from shops, conversation. Yangon is loud all day, every day. Work hours vary by sector. Government offices operate on official schedules, 9 to 5 more or less. Private businesses set their own hours. Shops open when the owner arrives. They close when business slows. Banks and international companies maintain stricter schedules. The heat shapes work patterns. Productivity drops in the afternoon. People slow down. Some businesses close for an extended lunch, 2 or 3 hours, avoiding the worst heat, then reopen in late afternoon when things cool slightly. Evening brings another shift. The sun sets around 6 year-round. This is the tropics. Day length doesn't vary much. Sunset happens. Temperature drops a few degrees. Humidity eases slightly. People emerge. After a day indoors or working, evening is social time. Parks fill with families. Kandogi Lake sees walkers circling the path. Couples sit on benches. Children play. Old men do Tai Chi. Shwedagon Pagoda sees thousands of visitors every evening. Tourists, yes, but mostly locals, coming to pray, to walk the platform, to sit quietly, to find peace. The pagoda is lit at night. The gold gleams under floodlights. It's spectacular. But for locals, it's not spectacle, it's home. It's where you go when you need spiritual grounding. Street food vendors set up, grilled meat on skewers, fried samosas, salads made with tea leaves, sweets made from palm sugar. People eat while walking or gather around popular vendors. Food is cheap, delicious, social. You eat what you can see being prepared. Trust comes from watching the vendor work. The city becomes social in the evening. People visit friends, sit outside their homes, talk, laugh, share food. Television sets play, radios broadcast, music drifts from houses. This is community. This is how relationships maintain themselves. Night brings relative quiet, but not silence. Yangon doesn't truly sleep, it only slows. Some tea shops stay open all night, bus stations see departures at 3 in the morning, markets begin setting up at 4. The city never fully stops. This rhythm, this pattern, this is how life moves in Yangon, shaped by weather, by tradition, by necessity. But there's something else we need to understand, something that makes Yangon distinct. Let's talk about contrasts. Yangon is a city of contradictions. Old and new exist simultaneously. Poverty and wealth occupy the same streets. Traditional and modern blur together. Sacred and secular intermingle. Walk through downtown. Victorian buildings crumble slowly, their facades stained by monsoon rains, paint peeling, masonry damaged. Inside, these grand buildings have been subdivided into dozens of small apartments and shops. Families live in rooms that were once parts of larger offices. Businesses operate from spaces carved out of colonial structures. Next to these crumbling relics, new glass towers rise. International hotels, office buildings, shopping centres, modern architecture, air conditioning, elevators, Wi-Fi. The 21st century asserting itself. On the street between them, the scene is equally mixed. Vendors sell betel nut from wooden carts, using scales that could be a century old. Payment in cash. Meanwhile, young people walk past staring at smartphones, listening to music through earbuds, dressed in global fashion. Buddhist monks in saffron robes walk past women in traditional longi and young men in jeans and t-shirts. The monks carry not only alms bowls but sometimes smartphones too. Tradition and technology together. Gold pagodas stand near modern shopping malls. You can pray at Seoul Pagoda, which has stood downtown for 2,000 years, then cross the street to buy a coffee at a cafe with imported espresso machines. Ox carts share roads with SUVs. In outer neighbourhoods, farmers still use cattle to pull carts loaded with produce. They travel the same roads as luxury cars driven by newly wealthy business people. Two economic eras, same space, same time. This is not a city that has chosen between past and future. It holds both, simultaneously, sometimes uncomfortably, but authentically. The contrasts extend to economics. Magnificent Shwedagon Pagoda, covered in gold worth millions, surrounded by neighbourhoods where people live in simple wooden houses, where infrastructure struggles, where services are inconsistent, luxury cars navigate roads full of potholes, five-star hotels operate in a city where electricity can be unreliable. Power cuts still happen. Backup generators are standard equipment. Cutting-edge technology coexists with practices unchanged for generations. The wealth gap is visible. Downtown, wealthy people shop at air-conditioned malls selling imported goods at international prices. In the same city, families live in squatter settlements along the railway tracks. Children play in the streets, houses made from scrap materials. Yet these contradictions aren't treated as problems to solve immediately. They're the reality. They're what makes Yangon itself. The city isn't trying to erase its past, it's building its future while keeping its history visible. And through all of this, life continues. People wake up, they work, they eat, they pray, they laugh, they struggle, they endure, they adapt. They find joy where they can. They support each other. They persist. This is Yangon, golden from the pagodas that mark every neighborhood, humid from the tropical climate that shapes every day, chaotic from the density of people and the energy of development, sacred from the deep Buddhist faith that permeates life, contradictory from the layers of history and the speed of change, alive in every sense, a city where past and present don't separate cleanly, where tradition and change dance together, where the monsoon still dictates rhythm, where a golden pagoda still draws the eye upward, where colonial buildings decay slowly while glass towers rise, where monks carry smartphones, where ox carts share roads with SUVs. So that's the story. We've travelled through Yangon. We've seen how a golden pagoda shaped a city's geography and destiny. We've watched layers of settlement from fishing villages to royal city, to colonial capital, to modern metropolis. We've felt the heat of hot season and the deluge of monsoon. We've walked with monks collecting alms and sat in tea shops drinking sweet tea. We've witnessed contradictions that would seem impossible anywhere else, but here make perfect sense. Yangon isn't trying to be anything other than itself. It's not imitating Bangkok or Singapore. It's not erasing its past to embrace its future. It's holding everything together, all the layers, all the contradictions, all the history, and all the change. The river still meets the river, the monsoon still comes, the pagoda still gleams, and the city carries on, doing what cities do, housing people, supporting commerce, connecting communities, being itself in the most authentic way possible. This has been the story of Yangon, Myanmar, the Golden City, the end of strife, a place where time moves differently. And now you know it. Thank you for listening. Sleep well.